The story begins in medias res, told via narration by acerbic theater critic Addison DeWitt, who introduces the various characters as they attend the ceremony for the Distinguished Sarah Siddons Award for Prestigious Achievement, awarded to rising star actor Eve Harrington. DeWitt's narration promises the audience will learn Eve's true story as the narrative voice switches to that of Karen Richards. Some years previous, Broadway star Margot Channing, recently turned 40, worries about what advancing age will mean for her career. After a performance of Margot's latest play, Margot's close friend, Karen Richards, wife of the play's author Lloyd Richards, brings besotted fan Eve Harrington backstage to meet Margot. In Margot's dressing room, Eve tells Karen, Lloyd, and Margot's maid Bertie that she followed Margot's last theatrical tour to New York City after seeing her perform in San Francisco. She tells an engrossing story of growing up poor in Wisconsin and losing her young husband, Eddie, in the South Pacific during World War II. Moved by Eve's story, Margot takes her into her home as her assistant, upsetting Bertie. Eve quickly manipulates her way into Margot's life, acting as both secretary and adoring fan. Adding to Margot's concerns about aging is her romantic relationship with the play's director, Bill Sampson, 8 years her junior. Without telling Margot, Eve arranges a midnight, long-distance phone call to Bill in California on his birthday. Bill is there temporarily, directing a film. Margot starts to grow suspicious, realizing that Eve set her up. The unexpected call was intended to show Bill that Margot had forgotten his birthday, though she luckily realizes what is happening and manages to conceal her surprise/confusion. Meanwhile, Eve had remembered and even sent her own greetings. Wanting to get Eve away from Bill, she asks producer Max Fabian to hire Eve at his office, but instead, Eve becomes Margot's understudy without Margot's knowledge. The film's trailer. As Margot's irritation grows, Karen sympathizes with Eve, believing that Margot is over-dramatizing her resentment of Eve out of temperamental peevishness. Hoping to humble Margot, Karen conspires for her to miss a performance so that Eve can perform. Eve invites the city's theater critics to attend the performance, including the influential DeWitt. Eve's performance is a triumph. Later that night, Eve attempts to seduce Bill, who, as a successful Broadway producer, might be useful to her career. Bill rejects Eve, letting her know that he sees her manipulations. Instead, Addison takes an interest in Eve. He interviews her for a column, harshly criticizing Margot for resisting younger talent. Margot and Bill announce their engagement at dinner with Lloyd and Karen. Eve summons Karen to the ladies' room and, after first appearing regretful, delivers an ultimatum. Karen must recommend her to Lloyd to play Cora, the lead role in Lloyd's new play. Otherwise, she will reveal Karen's part in Margot's missed performance. When Karen returns to the table, to her relief, Margot surprisingly announces that she does not wish to play Cora, saying she is too old for the ingenue role. Eve is cast as Cora. Just before the new play's premiere in New Haven, the story catches up to the opening scene. Months later, Eve is a Broadway star headed for Hollywood. While accepting the Sarah Siddons Award, she thanks Margot, Bill, Lloyd, and Karen as all four coldly stare back. Eve skips the after-party and returns home, where she encounters Phoebe, a teenage fan who slipped into her apartment and fell asleep. Phoebe professes her adoration and ingratiates herself with Eve, then begins packing her trunk. Eve invites her to stay over rather than take the long subway ride back to Brooklyn. While Eve is resting, Addison brings Eve's forgotten award to the door and is greeted by Phoebe, who admits she chose her own theatrical name. Addison realizes Phoebe will do to Eve what Eve did to Margot. When she is alone, Phoebe puts on Eve's elegant cloak and poses in front of a floor-length mirror, holding the award and bowing.